Once upon a time, in a dense and mysterious forest, lived a little fox named Rosalie. Rosalie was a curious and brave child, always ready to explore the winding paths of the forest. One day, her grandmother, who lived on the other side of the forest, fell ill. Rosalie's mother prepared her a basket filled with delicious jams and freshly baked cakes to cheer her up. "Rosalie, my dear, take this basket and visit your grandmother," her mother said. "But be careful of the big bad wolf who roams the forest. Stay on the path and don't linger." Rosalie promised her mother that she would be careful and ventured into the forest, carrying her basket with care. The sun shone through the leaves of the trees, and the birds sang joyfully. However, what Rosalie didn't know was that the big bad wolf was watching her from the bushes, his eyes gleaming with a sinister light. He was hungry and saw Rosalie as an easy prey. As Rosalie sang along the way, the wolf approached her, hiding in the shadow of the trees. "Where are you going, little fox?" he asked in a sweet and honeyed voice. Rosalie startled at the sound of the wolf's voice, but she didn't let herself be intimidated. "I'm going to visit my sick grandmother on the other side of the forest," she replied bravely. The wolf smiled with all his sharp teeth. "Oh, what a kind little fox you are. And what are you carrying in that pretty basket?" he asked, trying to hide his gluttony. Rosalie hesitated for a moment, but she remembered her mother's warnings. "These are jams and cakes for my grandmother. I must go now," she said politely and continued on her way. The wolf, however, had other plans. He knew that Rosalie's grandmother lived alone in an old house deep in the forest. He sprinted through the woods, hoping to get there before her. Meanwhile, Rosalie continued on her way, unaware of the signs of danger surrounding her. Soon, she arrived at her grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Grandmother, it's me, Rosalie. I've brought you treats to cheer you up," she called out. Inside, the wolf heard Rosalie's voice and had a wicked idea. He sneaked into the house and hid under the grandmother's covers. When Rosalie entered, she was surprised to see how different her grandmother seemed. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said, approaching the bed. The wolf, disguised as the grandmother, answered in a hoarse voice. "All the better to see you with, my dear," he said, trying not to growl. "And what big ears you have," exclaimed Rosalie, becoming more suspicious. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," replied the wolf, trying to hide his hungry fangs. "And what big teeth you have," said Rosalie, now certain that something was wrong. "All the better to eat you with, my dear," roared the wolf, leaping from the bed, revealing his true nature. Rosalie stepped back, but she suddenly remembered the basket she had brought. With a quick motion, she opened the lid and threw the jams and cakes at the hungry wolf. The wolf was taken by surprise, his eyes temporarily blinded by the delicious treats. This gave Rosalie the time to flee the house and run through the forest as fast as her little legs could carry her. She arrived home safe and sound, where her mother was anxiously waiting for her. Rosalie told her the story of the big bad wolf and her grandmother, and her mother hugged her with relief. From that day on, Rosalie knew to be careful in the forest, but she had also discovered her own strength and courage. And the big bad wolf, although he still roams the woods, would never dare to approach her again.